Hi, it's Anne here, and today's video is my finale for my Project Pan for 2023. So I'm doing this in the Team Project Pan style. I've said this every video. I'm doing it the way Haley did it a couple of years ago, where I did like a quarterly Project Pan. I really, this year, was not focused on finishing products. I was more focused on just getting targeted use on a lot of products, if that makes sense. Mostly because I knew in a lot of categories I just wasn't close to finishing anything. Like, I didn't think I could finish much within the year. So we're in our last quarter, our last update. I can't believe we're here. Every time I start this project, it feels like the end of the year is so far away, and then it's like, oh, and now we're here. Time is weird. Anyway, let's get into the update. Last video, I was like, the finale is going to be kind of wah-wah. We're good. It's a good finale. I'm excited. I feel pumped. Everything's good. I'm in a really good mood today because I think this project went really well. So the first item I have here is my foundation that I've been working on. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow in 203 Nude Beige. It's getting really close to being done. It's not quite done, but it did sputter the other day, and I was like, oh, that's new. It hasn't really done that yet. It's very liquidy, so when you do squeeze it out, like, you get a lot at a time if you're not careful. So because it's not in a pump where you like can tell it's starting to sputter, it's like in a tube, and like, again, it's very, very liquidy. So again, not quite done. I'm not going to roll this into my project next year just yet, but it will come back next year at some point. I definitely want to finish this. I think I can finish it. I would say there's at least a month left. I probably would be 2 months to finish this based on the amount that I use of the product. So last month it was 19.03 grams. It's finishing at 15.88 grams. That's a difference of 3.15 grams. And in total for the last, I think I had this in for 2 quarters. I had it in for a while, maybe just 1 quarter. I used 9.49 grams. Next up is my concealer, and the concealer is officially done. Last update I was like, I'm kind of calling it, but let's see how far we can push it. I took out the stopper. It's the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade, I want to say like light ivory. Yeah, and I was looking, was it in store or online? There is definitely a shade that's better for me. I think it's like light beige or something, or I can't remember the shade, but I know I saw a shade. I'm like, yes, there's definitely a shade that's going to be a better match for me. It was in store because I almost bought it. And then I decided to like cool my heels a little bit. I'm like, I got a lot of concealer. Let's maybe try and finish 1 or 2 more before we repurchase this. But I definitely will repurchase this in the shade that I think is a bit better for me. The shade worked, but it wasn't the best. But I really like this concealer because it's not too drying, it's not too creamy, it's like a good coverage, not too high, not too low. Like, it's just, it hits all the marks for me. It's a really, really good concealer. And especially at the price point too for a drugstore concealer. So last month this was 24.84 grams. It's finishing at 24.59 grams. That's a difference of 0.25 grams. So I was able to get another 1/4 gram out of this product. And in total, I used 2.7 grams to finish this guy out. Next up is my foundation compact. This is the Sephora Mineral Compact Foundation in R15. I almost finished this. I didn't think I would get this close. I was like, oh, there'll be lots left. Like, maybe I'll roll it into next year. This is very, very close to being finished. Like, I would give it maybe a week to finish this out. Like, it's very thin. Maybe a week and a half. I think I can finish this out. I'm actually not going to roll this into my project next year because there's still a little bit left in the month of December. I'm going to work on this, and then I'll probably finish it very, very early in January. So it feels a little disingenuous to put it in a project when I can finish it like within the first week. Like, I want to put some stuff in my project next year that's got a little bit more substance. Like, it's good to put stuff in that you finish early, but I feel like that's too early, if that makes sense. So I think I'm just going to finish this on the sideline, and I don't think I can finish it by the end of this year, but definitely very early next year. I really enjoyed this guy. There is a Sephora compact that's on sale at Sephora right now. I should have bought it back in, like, because it's already like discounted to like $13. And then they had the 30% off in November with a VIB sale. I was like, no, I'll wait because they'll put stuff on sale in December. Joke's on me, they didn't. So still on sale for like $13, but I'm not going to buy it. Like I'm like, you know what? Cut our losses. I'm not going to buy that. There's other products I want to try. I feel like that one's deeply discounted because I think they're discontinuing that line or like repackaging it or reformulating it. So, because I've noticed they've just launched a new highlight and contour, I think. And that's why like I think a lot of the Sephora products are like discontinued. I don't know if they've reformulated totally, but they've definitely repackaged. So yeah, so I've been really happy with this guy. This has worked really well in combination with another product in this project for sort of my light makeup days. So I often will not wear this when I wear the foundation, and I'll wear just like concealer or just like a light touch of foundation and use this because it is a foundation powder. And I talked about this in other videos. How I use this a lot was like on a day-to-day basis when I would do my foundation or do sort of my base, and then I would do bronzer, blush, and highlight, and then I would go in with this because it sort of blended everything together, toned it down for like real world, not like camera, not at home where I'm just like full beat. I know at home I wear a full beat, or like on the weekends and stuff. Like I feel like my work days I need to like rein it in a little, also because I can't really touch up during the day, so I want to make sure the makeup's a little bit softer because I feel like when you have a full beat, sometimes it's harder to like make sure you're managing the makeup very well in case you need to touch up. Like I blow my nose a lot when it's like cold outside right now and things like that. So anyway, I'm tangenting with this product, but I've really enjoyed it. I am sad that it's done, but it's a pretty old product. Oh, I've already lost the sticker. It's one of the oldest. Oh, I don't have a sticker on this because I don't know exactly when I got it. I've had it since pre my YouTube channel. That's how old it is. So happy that this is going to be almost done, or this is going to be done very soon. Last month, this was 43.31 grams. It's now 42.46 grams. That's a difference of 0.85 grams. And in total, I used 2.03 grams. Oh, this guy. Again, speaking of old products, I've had this since pre-YouTube channel. I want to say Sephora channel. Why do I want to say that? That doesn't make sense. Pre-YouTube channel. I've had this since July 2017. I only know that because this came in a BoxyCharm. It's the bareMinerals Translucent Powder Duo. We're cutting our losses on this bad boy. I talked about end of year. This is going. And it's definitely, like, last month I was like, maybe I'll keep it. This December I didn't use this. I didn't use it at all. So I think, well, maybe that's a lie. I think I used it once. So yeah, I think it's time. It's time for me to get rid of this. I don't know how well things will show on camera. I haven't done any photos yet. This won't really show a whole lot. I did pretty good on the matte side, but the glow side like looks fairly pristine. But yeah, this is a product that's just gonna go. I'm not gonna use it. If I use it, it's so minimal. I'm never gonna finish it. It's getting old. There's just no point in hanging on to it anymore. Like, I just don't see myself using it. I thought about maybe breaking up the powder. It's not happening. It's just not happening. There was a time, like I've talked about when I had oily skin, that I really liked this. That's why the matte one has a lot of use in it, because I was sort of using that to like blot my face down. And I was using this like midday sometimes when I was working, but I just like, yeah, for a good 8 months of the year, I don't need anything like this. I might want it in the warmer months, but again, I have a CoverGirl compact, which again is another thing I might declutter because I'm not really using that either. So it's just not a product that's in my rotation anymore, that type of product. I don't feel like I need it. So last month, this was 97.01 grams. It's still 97.01 grams. And in total, I used 1.99 grams of this product, so almost 2 grams. So this is getting decluttered. It's time to just let it go. I'm not using it. I need to just like cut my losses on it and say goodbye. Not even really losses. It was good when I liked it. It was good when I used it, but I just don't use it anymore. Next product. Bittersweet. She's done. It's done. It's end of an era. And what happened this past month is like this totally broke. Like it totally came apart. This is the NYC. Yes, I said NYC, not NYX. Brand that does not exist anymore. Bronzer in Faux Sun. And it's all done. All done. And I finished this. I talked about like a few months ago. I was like, oh, this is going to take a while. It's going to be like a photo finish. No, I finished it before Christmas. It was fine. Totally fine to finish this. I'm sad. I enjoyed it. Definitely didn't like using it out of the summer months. That's what made it hard to finish this up, is because I prefer this when I have a bit of a tan or when I'm using like warmer makeup for like, you know, summery months. But I feel like, again, I tend to lean to more like neutral cool tones in like the fall and winter for my makeup. So this just didn't really match, but I kind of mixed and matched with the bronzer in the Cover FX palette, and that kind of worked. Again, using the powder compact to sort of tone this down a little worked really well. But that's why this one took so long, because I really only used it like in the summer months. So last month this was 28.82 grams. It's now 28 grams even. That's a difference of 0.82 grams. And in total I used 4.14 grams. You want up? Hold on a second. He can jump up on the couch himself, but sometimes he just wants a hand. Oh, I don't know what to do about him. I really want to keep him. Like, I really do. It's working out really well. I mean, there's some, I don't want to call them red flags. There's a couple of reasons why I don't think I should keep him. And it's really breaking my heart. And I don't want to talk about it because I start getting upset when I think about letting him go. Because I think, how can anybody let him go? But I might have to. Anyway, that's a tangent. But he's really well. Oh, and he's cone-free. Oh, I don't know if you noticed. He's cone-free. We're cone-free. Finally. He had dental surgery, and they had to take all his teeth but one. Anyway, so he's a one. In my head, I call him a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. Because he's a one-legged, one-toothed, old, shelty, mushy eater. I don't know. Anyway, the other bronzer that I had was this one. This is the Tower 28 bronzer in, what was the shade name in this? West Coast. And this one did sort of suffer use, I guess, because I did focus on the NYC one, but I did use this a couple of times. So I did get a little bit of use out of this. Again, this one's very close to being, it's pretty close to being done. I want to say very close, but it's pretty close. So this, again, will come back in a project next year. Keep an eye out for it. Not going to go into my regular project pan, but like I said, I've said this in a couple of videos that I'm doing a little bit more panning next year. I'm going to do a couple more projects than I did this past year. Kind of want to focus on, like, my channel's going to be sort of 50-50 next year on like panning and like new product reviews. So we're going to see how that goes. It's going to be interesting. So last month this was 36.32 grams. It's now 36.23 grams. That's a difference of 0.09 grams. And in total, I used 0.64 grams. Next up is my first blush. It's the Rare Beauty Stay Vulnerable Melting Blush in Nearly Neutral. Again, I haven't taken pictures yet, so I don't know how like this will look, but I can definitely start. I'm seeing more pan as I'm going with this. Again, I did focus on my other blush over this one, but this one, I think this will come back in another project. I haven't figured out yet what I'm going to do with this next year. I definitely want to try and work on my cream blushes next year because I have a lot now and I need to start like working them down, but I just don't know. Like even with this, I'm not sure I can finish this in a whole year based on how I use it, like in 2024, based on how I use it, based on wanting to use other blushes. So we'll see. This one might come back. I feel like I'll bring it back in some sort of project, but I don't know if I'll finish this next year. So last month this was 39.97 grams. It's now 39.76 grams. That's a difference of 0.21 grams. And in total I used 0.66 grams of this product. And the other blush that I focused on more this past month is this, guys. This is the Tarte blush in Paaarty. And again, I haven't taken the photos, but I feel like this one's going to look, there's definitely pan expanding in this one, and this one is close to being done. Now I say close, not very close. Looks very close. But with the blush, these take a long time. But this one's actually fairly neutral and fairly light. I feel like I can go a little heavy-handed with it compared to some of the other Tarte blushes that I've used in the past. But yeah, this one is definitely coming back in my project pan for next year because I want to finish this out. I want to have a finished blush. So hard for me to finish blushes, and I'll be really, really happy to finish this out. Although I'll be sad because I do like this color. I considered repurchasing it when there was the Black Friday sale. I think, well, it was the Black Friday sale and it was in Sephora VIB sale, but then I just said no on both because again, I've used it. I like it. I want to try different blushes going forward. So last month, this was 17.91 grams. It's finishing at 17.87 grams. That's a difference of 0.04 grams, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for a Tarte blush, it's not bad. And in total, I used 0.39 grams of product for this blush. The next item is my first highlighter, and this is the Kevyn Aucoin Celestial Powder in Candlelight. This is kind of like a quasi, like, I could dust this all over my face for an all-over glow if I wanted, because it's fairly light. But the pan in this guy is getting really big. And I said this as soon as I hit pan, I knew pan was going to grow. But I think we're kind of hitting max. It could grow a little bit more, basically because the middle of the whole thing was fairly low. So I knew once I hit pan, it was going to like get big. But now we're kind of hitting the point where it's like, there's a lot of product on the outside that I never really touched. So this is probably like max pan for now, unless I start targeting using like the outside of the pan a little bit more. Yeah, I really enjoyed using this. Don't think I'll bring this back. I might bring it back in a project next year, but I'm not sure. I want to focus on some of my other highlighters. The challenge that I have with my highlight category is, and same with my bronzer category, they're all fairly full. They're all very big. So I don't see myself finishing a highlighter next year, but we're probably gonna try. We're gonna try and see what happens with that next year. So last month this was 31.22 grams. It's finishing at 31.01 grams. That's a difference of 0.21 grams, and in total I used 0.47 grams. The next guy have had a bit of, I want to say love-hate, but it's not love-hate. It's love-like with this product. I'm liking it a bit more. My skin has been a bit chaotic the past couple months, particularly when I got sick with COVID. That just like threw my skin way out of whack. And I found, I don't know, when I was using this back when I first brought it in, my skin just was not great. And it seemed my skin's leveled out now. My skin's a lot better. It's been fine this past month. So yeah, I've been able to use this a little bit more. And I've been using this like on my low makeup days. So I'll use this with just the powder compact, and it works really nicely. I did try and like focus. I thought maybe I could finish it. I didn't quite finish it, but we're pretty close to finishing it. I almost feel like I want to take the stopper out soon because I feel like it's getting hard to get the product out. This will definitely come back in a project next year. I do want to finish this up next year. It'll be no problem to finish this up next year. I don't know if I'd repurchase this. I think I would want to try one of the dupes, like the e.l.f. Halo Glow or whatever it's called. I know Flower has a similar type product, I think. So I have a feeling I'd rather try other brands that are similar style of product. Spoiler alert, I did buy something that's kind of similar. Not really. Close to. It's in the ballpark of like glowy all over kind of thing. So it hasn't arrived yet, so I don't want to say what it is, just in case it never does arrive. I don't like to, it's one of the reasons why, like, even if I've bought something in a month, if it doesn't arrive in that month, I won't count it towards my beauty budget for that month, because sometimes things just don't show up, or they're probably, like, you know, they get lost or whatever. So, yeah, that's another video. Why am I talking about that? So anyway, this guy, it was 31.71 grams. It's finishing at 30.5 grams. That's a difference of 0.21 grams. And in total, I used 2.28 grams, which I feel like is really good for this little guy. Next up is another finished product. My eyeliner. This is the Wet n Wild waterproof, breakup proof, waterproof eyeliner in something black. I really hated this by the end. It got really dry and really hard to use. And I will admit, I tried something that was a bad idea, but I learned from it. I tried using a lighter to warm it up a little bit to soften it. Yeah, it just like mushed it. And then I was like, okay, we're done. Because it was really, really close. I mean, it's still, like you can see, it's super close. Like right now I can't use it. Even though there's a tiny bit of product there, the plastic just scrapes my eye and it's not comfortable, and I don't want to use that. I don't want to damage my eye. But yeah, I tried to like warm it up a little bit with a lighter, and it just like crumbled the product. Like it didn't work. So, I mean, there was so little left. I'm like, let's see if I can get a little bit more from it, because the problem was it was so dry at the end, and with the plastic, like I was pressing kind of hard, and I'm like, ugh, maybe if I'd like use the lighter, warm it up a little bit, I can just use that last little bit of product. No, just did not work. So we're done. and we're out. So again, no weight change on it because it was so small amount of product, but last month it was 5.47 grams. We're finishing at 5.47 grams, and in total I used 0.12 grams. Next up is my Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil in Black Love. Again, I used this a little bit more this past month because I finished that Wet n Wild one pretty early in the month. So this one actually did get a little bit more usage compared to previous months. I'm also like, I feel like I'm going through this pretty quickly and I don't want to finish it without a backup. So I'm contemplating getting a backup soon just because I know this is like, there's a lot left. I don't want to be without this. I really like this liner. It's a good, affordable liner. I noticed there was a couple other colors in the store too that I might pick up as well. But yeah, I really enjoy this liner. For the price point, for a pencil liner, it's what I'm wearing today. It's very black. It's waterproof. It stays. I think it's great quality for the price. It's like $4.99 or something like that. Like it's a really good liner. Last month this was 4.18 grams. It's finishing at 4.02 grams. That's a difference of 0.16 grams. And in total, I used 0.26 grams. I'm not going to bring this back in a project just yet, but this will come back in a project at some point. Next up is my Merit Clean Lash Lengthening Mascara. I'm going to say goodbye to this. I'm going to call it a finished product at the end of the month. I'm not calling it finished just yet for this project because I definitely want to keep using it a little bit more. Like I said, it's not quite the end of December just yet, but this is going to be in my empties as an empty. I do have another Merit mascara, so I can say goodbye to this. I've had this one since December 2021, so that's 2 years. So you know, I think that's plenty long enough. And I am at the point where I was like, I'm definitely like, I know when I'm like getting done with a mascara when I start doing this, like I'm trying to get product out. And I feel like I enjoy this more now. I enjoy it more now that I'm working in the office and going with some more sort of natural looks. I enjoy it more now, like that it's dried out. I prefer this a little bit more dried out compared to fresh. I'd say I give it like a month and then it hits a good consistency for me. It's almost getting a little too dry right now. And like, there's been a couple times where I pull it out and like a clump has come out and I'm like, ooh, oops. So it's definitely drying out. But yeah, I have a backup of this. I would consider repurchasing this. There's not a lot of like tubing mascaras at the drugstore, like a drugstore price. So I feel like this is worth it for me because I enjoy it. I like it because it's a good alternative to a waterproof mascara and it doesn't flake, it doesn't smudge, and I don't have to worry about it like when I'm, again, when I go out to work and if it's raining that day, I'm like not wearing a waterproof mascara, but I'm wearing this, so I know it's not going anywhere. And at the end of the day, it's easy to get off because waterproof mascaras, which I'm not wearing one today. I was wearing one yesterday. They're so hard to get off. I love them because they stay put. They're a bit thicker. They give me volume, but man, they're a pain in the butt to get off. So yeah, so this guy last month was 23.65 grams. It's finishing at 20. Did I say the right number there? Let's say it again, just in case. 23.65 grams, finishing at 23.34 grams. That's a difference of 0.31 grams. And in total, I used 0.89 grams. And we're rounding up with my two brow products. The first one is the Merit Brow 1980 Volumizing Pomade in Brown. I can't remember if I said that I would call this done at the end of the year or not, but I'm not. I'm still going with this. I feel like there's still good product in this. I'm going to use it till it's dead because it was a pricey freaking product and not a lot of product. So I want to use every single ounce of this piece of gold. And I like it. Again, I'm wearing both of these in my eyebrows today. It ends up being a really good combo for me. I have crappy eyebrows. They're very uneven, but I feel like this works out really well. So last month this was 18 grams. It's finishing at 17.98 grams. That's a difference of 0.02 grams. And in total, I used 0.41 grams. I didn't use this a whole lot this past month. I ended up just I felt like I was in a rush a lot of the times this past month. I don't know why. And I was just using the pencil a lot more because it is an extra step to use the pomade. But yeah, I was definitely using my pencil a lot more, which is the IT Cosmetics Brow Power Universal Brow Pencil. And there's no weight change on this, but I did use it. I felt like I used it a lot this past month. Although, I mean, I was using other products too. We're doing pretty good on size. Again, I haven't taken any photos yet or measured anything, so I don't really know what this looks like, but we're getting through it. I feel like I'm doing better on this than I am on that stupid Winky Lux one that won't die. So I haven't made a decision yet on what's coming back for next year. Like, is this going to come back, or am I going to do the Winky Lux one? Because I just want to finish that Winky Lux one. I don't hate it enough to just declutter it, but it takes a lifetime to pan. So it's not fun to use. It's not fun to pan because it takes so long. Whereas at least this, I feel like I noticed use or can see use on it. And I feel like I'm getting through it. So it's a little more enjoyable to pan. So again, no weight change. Last month, 8.66. This month, 8.66. And in total, I used 0.04 grams. Brow products, like weighing a brow product is kind of pointless because it's so lightweight. It's almost like negative weight trying to weigh those. So that is it. I'm really, really happy with this project. Again, I was not intending to finish products with this project, but I ended up finishing, I believe, 14 items, 15 if I include that mascara. So I feel like that's really good. I'm not even going to count the number of products that I brought into this project because I brought in a lot of products. But again, for a project where I wasn't really heavily focused on finishing stuff, I actually did finish 14 items, although a lot like in the same category. Like there was 3 setting mists that I finished, 2 eye pencils, 1 brow gel, 1 lash primer, 1 face primer, the Say Glowy Gel Dewy, so that was a highlighter, and then the Soul Body Shimmering Dry Oil, and 1 foundation. So I feel pretty good about that, even though it was not the objective of this project. It was a nice bonus, and I talk about a lot in previous projects, like I get kind of disappointed when I don't finish stuff and I see everybody else finishing stuff, and I've had to sort of like recalibrate and reset, and I think this project was really good for that, for me to like remember that sometimes a panning project isn't not necessarily about finishing, but it's about getting use out of what you have and figuring out if you want to keep it, figuring out if you like it, figuring out what works with what, and that kind of stuff, or figuring out if you're just finishing something just to like finish it and be done with it. I never really hate pan anything. If I hate something enough, like I will declutter it. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this project turned out for me. It was a good sort of reset, a good mix-up of just doing a straight-up project pan. Next year's going to be a little bit different. We're kind of going back old school a little bit with next year's project. So I will have that intro up probably right up after this because I want to get that. I like to get that up at the very beginning of the year. Get started, fresh new year. Very excited to do a panning project. I don't know. Whenever it's like the new year, I'm geared up to start a new project, even though it's like the same thing over again. Just feels new. Anyway, if you like this video, feel free to give a little thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.